Great Tuesday. Welcome to the King Connections podcast. I'm your host, King, and this is the podcast to really interview impact investors or anybody who we believe are exhibiting their fully human characteristic traits, people who are doing things that are more have a higher purpose behind what they do in life and have an impact in the world or in their local communities. So with that being said, I'm proud to bring to the King Connections podcast my guest today, Sveta Banerjee. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Sveta, yes.
Sveta. Okay, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Thank you, King. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you for being here. And one of the key questions I want to ask that we always get started with to kind of set the context for today's show, and that is, what would you say your spiritual energy number is in the moment, being from 0 being life sucks to 10 being life is awesome? Where would you say you fall in right now?
Absolutely on the top. So life is amazing. It doesn't matter what comes on the way.
Love that. Love that. The reason I asked that question is because it really sets the context for the show. Because I've learned that throughout doing these shows for years and events I've done, that when people say they're a 5 or below, then it's not going to be a good interview. They're not going to be present. They're going to be adversarial, and it's best to reschedule. So I always ask that question just to make sure, because when they answer like you did, then we're going to have a great conversation and looking forward to really positive energy being shared throughout. So thank you for indulging me with that.
Happy to share the energy, of course.
Now, my first question to begin with is, in the reading your bio, I know you're an impact investor. You also have a TV show that you do around investing as well. You own a company, Impact Investing Solutions. So now, what interested me really about your bio, really attracted me to you, was your shift from just being focused on financing to now impact investing. And I know yoga is a big part of that. Can you speak to that a little bit, please?
Sure. So it's, I think the shift happened when financial crisis of 2008 came. I was still a student at the University of Zurich, and it just hit me, like when it happened, so many people suffered, lost their homes, and it was awful. And it was difficult to accept that I'm going to be the banker, like the ones who cause this kind of misery for people. And I was like, oh my God, what am I studying? I want to do something good with my profession. And that's how my search started. I didn't know yet that impact investing even exists. Right. So that's how it started. And then I think somewhere along the way, I crossed this path. I was still working to finance my studies at a company. And they wanted to establish a first in the history sustainable commodity fund. And I was doing research. And that's how I found all these terms back in 2013, what is sustainable investing, responsible investing, impact investing. And that was like a little enlightenment for me. Like, wow, we can do good and we can make money at the same time. Then why aren't we doing that? So I was like, why? People, wake up, we can do both. No need to run just for money. But it was very early, back 2013 in Switzerland, like very few people knew about it. Even less people were investing with impact. So I started dedicating myself on that. And it's actually happened parallel. So yoga paused, came, like I became yoga teacher at the same year when I also left the bank. So it helped me to leave the bank and then just fully dive into impact investing journey. So I founded my company and was teaching yoga and impact investing. But impact investing was still the main core. And yeah, that's how it started. So I think you need to listen to the heart. So if the heart, it was like a heart calling, right? So if you have some realization and it's like still new, nobody is, or very few doing it, then you need to follow it, because then you are bringing something to people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. What I always find to be something that I find to be very curious is when people have that shift as far as when they discover they have a purpose and they want to pursue that purpose. And usually it's some kind of traumatic event that caused them to do that. Now, for you, would you say that yoga put you in that place of once you found peace and it helps you see clearer, and that's what yoga helped you to do that. To see the impact investing was kind of your purpose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's thanks to yoga only I survived, I think, because I've been through many challenges, and usually challenges and problems come all together, So I also had some crisis in my family. I was quitting the job in a bank, Wasn't I scared? Of course I was, And also my family was not very supportive. They were saying, what are you going to do? Impact what? Impact investing? Are you going to pay your bills with that? Like, really? Yeah, that's what my father said. But I said, don't worry, it will be fine, So yoga helped me really to go to my heart and to believe in myself, to believe that I can do things which I might, if I analyze from the mind would give me 1,000 reasons why not, and the heart will give me at least one reason why yes. Yeah, and then we need to go this path, even if it's scary. So yoga has been supporting me in terms of health, well-being, mental health, physical health, everything, and it just intensified along the way. So I learned many different yogas, and now I practice Atma Kriya yoga. If you don't know that, you can check it out. But it's like, it's also a yoga journey alongside the material world. There's also a yoga journey was going on in parallel.
And so is yoga something you practice on a daily basis?
Oh, yes. There is no compromise. That's something I don't compromise. 5 minutes on 2 hours, it can vary, but I do it. So it's really no compromise anymore. Yes.
Is there no compromise there?
No compromise. Sick or good, it doesn't matter. In the airplane or in the plane, in the train, I still do it. Yes.
Wow. Now, for our listeners who may not be as familiar with the term impact investing, how would you define impact investing?
Sure, it's a very good question, because many understand it in some funny way, and then there is confusion. So let's clarify that one. So impact investing is investments which are done to support social and environmental mission. Alongside, these companies also generate financial return, and they commit to measure impact. That's very important because some companies are doing something good, but they don't measure impact. But that's very important. The impact measurement, if you can't measure, you can't manage, right? So if you can't measure, you can't manage. And if you can, then you can direct it in the right way. And it's also, if you are looking in the perspective of entrepreneurs, they usually, of course, mission-driven. There's an underlying mission in the company, to solve one or several sustainable development goals, for example, of United Nations. They are usually also very innovative because to combine both profit and impact, you need to apply either innovative business model or innovative technologies. So usually it's also connected to one or the other or even both. And they're also scalable. So scalability is important for investors to come in because you might run a nice bio-product shop, which is also impactful, but investors will not invest because it's just local, which is also nice. Not everyone needs investors. But if you want to scale it up and go direction impact investment, then the businesses should be also scalable.
Now, do you see that impact investing, as far as the return that an investor would be looking for, would that be lower or higher based off, or are they looking more for impact, or is it a combination of both?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And there was many years, there was this trade-off of return and impact. Is there any trade-off? The question is, no, there is no, and impact investing is like a spectrum. You can find some of them closer to sustainable investing, traditional investment, and they still generate impact, and they will generate also standard market returns, even higher sometimes. On the other spectrum, you have impact investment closer to philanthropy, right? To philanthropic projects. And then the impact there is deeper, more profound, and maybe the return will be less. You also need to understand that impact investing it can be done through all different capital, how to say, through different asset classes, right? So you can use it as a loan. There are also like microfinance, right? You can use it as private equity or real assets. There are also combinations of both. So depending on that asset class, return, of course, will be varying. But what we have seen, especially during COVID, right? Because impact investing is so much connected to basic needs like accessible education, accessible healthcare, accessible food. Then during COVID, this was the three things, or accessible energy. This is all what impact investing is actually addressing. It means that during COVID, many impact investing companies were thriving when the others, traditional ones, were having hard times. So it's not a moral choice, it's a smart choice to invest with impact.
Excellent. Now, you also teach impact investing. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. I teach quite a lot.
Now, I'm curious. Haven't been in your class, but I'm just curious. Walk me through your first day that you bring new students in. What do you say on your first day of the class? To
You
kind of
mean
set the when
like
you do your class, to
yeah,
set the context of what they're going to experience, what they're going to learn.
that's a
What
good
do you do to
question.
kind of set that context?
It's every time different because depending on the audience, sometimes I teach at the universities to students, sometimes I teach to investors at the family office, sometimes I speak on stage about that. So it really depends. But I think the first question is always like, okay, do you know what is impact investing? And then you can see already who has an idea or not, like to bring them on the same page. And we always start with the definition because many banks are using their own definitions or adjusting the widely accepted definition for their convenience, right? So we need to make sure that impact investing remains impact investing and not some ESG or whatever things they are like intervening that. So it's important that the mission is always there, right? So if somebody is not sure how sustainable investing is different from impact investing, is that sustainable investing is still driven by profit mainly, and the enterprises apply some sustainable policies like gender equality or reducing waste, but still at the base there is no mission like one of the sustainable development goals. It's still profit driven. Where in impact investing we go one step further, and there should be an underlying mission to solve one of the global challenges on our planet.
Now, do you use the UN 17 or the 21?
Yeah, 17. Correct.
17.
Yeah, 17 SDGs. We are using it as a framework, Sustainable Development Goals. It's not ideal one, but what we see, it's one of the most practical and helpful also to connect investors, impact investors with impact businesses. Because once the business is clear which SDGs they are trying to achieve, and once we know this investor is driven by, so for example, number 13, climate change, and we know the enterprise is also contributing to that one, it's much easier to match. Yeah. And across the world, you can see also impact funds applying SDG science on their decks, and like it's widely used and widely accepted. So I definitely advise impact businesses and impact investors to be clear on which of the SDGs, or if it's one or many, are they actually contributing or are driven by. Yeah.
Tell me about the mission behind Impact Investing Solutions.
Mm-hmm. So our mission is to shift capital towards impact, towards all projects which are doing something good for our planet. The problem is that it's not happening very fast, especially currently with geopolitical situations. Many are arguing that we're holding back the money. So now what we are doing, we are going beyond impact and also helping to raise the consciousness of investors or of any people on our planet. Because I believe once you are connected and you go from your mind to the heart, then you do the right action. Then you are not holding back your capital, because you also understand the best investments are done in the times of crisis. Of course, if you look at some successful investors, you should invest now and not in some 30 years when the economic situation is again very stable and we have democracy in all countries around the world. That's not going to happen, right? So you need to invest now with impact and from your heart. And, from the mind to the heart, like one of the brilliant spiritual teachers, Paramahamsa Vishwananda, was saying, it's just 40 centimeters journey. So the pilgrimage that you are doing is just 40 centimeters. On the outside, we are going to some holy places, churches, like to go this way. But it's so close, So to go to this place and then do the right thing, that's the magic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you invest in do you invest in companies globally or only in country or companies locally?
Yes, so impact investing solutions, we have a global network, right? We don't have a fund which invests, not yet. We consider actually to create our own fund as well. But at the moment, we have investors network globally who invest globally as well. And we have projects from different parts of the world, absolutely. And I think the world is rather small. The more I travel and go around, we can see that it's we are all one, and it's actually very close. It's not so big. So, and for us, impact investing in Switzerland became too small very fast. We needed to go out and to bring our message to connect in different parts of the world to really shift something bigger. Yeah. That's why we do it globally. Also, the TV show is in 122 countries. We crossed 13 million views last month.
Wow.
So yeah, it's spreading. It seems that the message is right and people want impact.
Congratulations. Let's talk about the show now. What is the show theme, format, and what's the purpose of the show?
Right. So the TV show is called Swiss Impact with Banerjee. And the format is online interviews with people, scientists, celebrities, politicians, investors, businesses who are already doing something for our planet. And it is there to inspire others to get into action. It is there for others to learn what's already out there so they don't reinvent the wheel when they want to solve one or another problem. It is also there to help the businesses to get some investors or partners or clients. So it's really for branding and bringing them out, giving them space and voice globally that they can be seen and that can hopefully find what they're looking for.
And how long?
Yeah?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to say that we found it during COVID. We had nothing better to do, And it was always my dream because impact investing, why didn't we talk about it on some kind of TV show? If you really mean about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, we want to spread it. Why? Nobody was talking about it on this, from the black box, which everyone has in their homes, right?
Right.
And that's where we decided, okay, let's try it. We didn't know where the journey will take us. Absolutely no plan. And we were very consistent. I think that was the key, bring every week one of the people contributing to the world, that with the time it became a very valuable for many people because things are staying there, stored nicely. If you go to a conference, you hear some people speaking, it's nice, but then it's usually forgotten after conference is over. And at the TV show, the beauty of it, even after 1 year or even after 3 years, somebody finds the project amazing, they can reach out to them. Maybe they're already at a different stage, but they still might need support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you say that you interview guest politicians, I'm curious, how do politicians respond or react to impact investing, those terminology? Are they accepting of that? Are they leery of it?
Yeah, usually they all love to be there, actually. It's because we had such guests like Prince of Dubai, Prince Michael of Liechtenstein. We had head of European Investment Bank, sixth president of Mauritius, prime minister of Netherlands. So of those part, but also some scientists like from Mr. Rockström, who is a very renowned scientist on climate change. So usually when people see this, they of course want to be associated as well. And we need to be very selective. So we don't greenwash, we don't compromise impact. That's another thing we don't. So we needed sometimes to refuse people to come to TV show because they were not doing impact, right? They wanted, but they don't. So we need to be selective.
Are you familiar with companies or movements such as the Benefit Corporation or B Lab or Conscious Capitalism?
Yes, absolutely. B Lab. I'm familiar with that one. Sorry. And B Corp also, of course, we were on some of the conferences with them in Rome. So yes, we are familiar.
Now, what is some of the advice you would give investors who are maybe interested in becoming an impact investor? What are some of the advice you would give them that they need to be mindful of how to get into this space?
Yeah. I think the first step, and that's how I usually also ask them, okay, what is their passion also, because they need to find the sweet spot which inspires them, which sparks some energy. Because some investors are driven to help kids to get the education. The others are touched by the plastic spread in our oceans. Some are really into building sustainable cities out of recyclable materials, or whatever it is. So they first need to find, okay, which of these SDGs is actually resonating inside their hearts, right? So to find this. And then after they know it, then there is a wide range to go in different asset classes, funds, private equity, whatever they wish, they can engage. Also, it's not always necessary with the money that they have to engage. They can engage with their skills. Especially, I think people after 60, they are bored. They still have a lot of skills, but they don't know what to do. And then they can accompany, which is impact driven, aligned with their hearts, which they can support as well. So it's not only about the money, but also with own heart, they can also support. And it's very valuable to some impact companies. We ran this retreat in November, which was published also on Yahoo Finance and other magazines, which is specifically designed for investors. It's called Impact and Love Legacy Retreat, where we want to help investors to find their life purpose, to connect with their hearts through this Atmakriya yoga as well, which I'm combining, and then show them different opportunities in impact investing. Or they might come up with their own ideas if it's not yet there. So then they are like discovering and rediscovering their life purpose.
You said it happened in November, or is planning for this November?
It's in November. Yes, it is in November. And if somebody is interested, they just can go to our website and iisolutions.ch/retreat, or just iisolutions.ch, and they will find all the information that they can check out. We are only selecting 15 investors. It's very exclusive retreat for really those who also want to shift capital, because as I told you, our mission is to shift capital, not to hold it back and enjoy and just be very egoistic and I-centered, but we want to help those to understand the unity consciousness and for them to create the legacy and to leave some amazing moments in their life, which the assets can help. Because, I believe that God has given you the resources not to just care about your little family, but for the whole family on the planet. And if you understand that, your life can be so much more happier.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so it's only for investors, or are you actually inviting business people as well?
Yeah. So this retreat is for investors only, and I think in the future we will do also for businesses. Now it's the first one for investors. Yes.
And where is the retreat going to be located?
It will be in Switzerland, in very nice location in close to Fishingen, around with the nature and very nice energy vibration. So you can check some videos and pictures on the website, how it will look like. And I will be not alone there. So I will be along with three other mentors who will be guiding all the investors, very experienced. And we are kind of a bridge, so we see ourselves bridge between material and spiritual world, and because we need to connect those worlds. So the assets is also energy which needs to flow,
I
and
love that.
we just need to help to flow.
I love that. I have so many questions now that you talked about energy. That's one of my favorite conversations. But before I go there, just want to get a couple more questions about impact investing. Uh, One of my questions that I have: would impact investing, as an impact investor, would that, if you say you're an impact investor, would you look at your terms differently, as far as would you be more patient with your uh, return expectations, maybe instead
Mhm.
of 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, would that have an impact on how you view a deal, as far as being more patient, and as well as the return that you're actually looking for?
Usually it is the case indeed, and if it's a genuine impact investor, they are usually more patient in terms of um, horizon, investment horizon, right? It can be 3, it can be 5. Some impact investors give for 10 years, absolutely no problem. And in terms of returns, again, it's usually they want, of course, to see some returns, but they are not running after huge returns like some venture capitalists are running after, right? So for them, they see impact as a return as well.
Mm,
It's not monetary, but it is a huge return. And in some cases, it's also much more valuable than just the money, because if you clean water, if you educate some kids, if there is no more plastic mountain on Bali, which is actually still there, it's such a huge return for everyone living in that place, right? So it's
right.
just shifting your conscious how you're looking at it. But if you bring it to the more banking and banking discussion, then impact investors, they want to see uh, the returns, but also impact, right? That's why I said before, the companies should measure the impact. And impact investor will ask you, okay, what's your impact right now, or what's your projection of the impact? And you should be able to reply to that. But they also want to see the business model. It also will be a question. So if you have some vague business model, it's also not good, not ideal, right? So it should be both. It should be combination of a strong business case plus impact. That's the ideal scenario.
What advice would you give companies who are interested in pitching their ideals to impact investors, that they need to do to get prepared for those meetings?
Mm-hmm. Well, integrate the sustainable development goals into your business model. So nature and people, right? Putting in just 2 words, nature and people are part of any business. If you're aware of that or not, they're still there. And then put some metrics to measure your impact. That's just like the very, very basics. And I don't advise to put all 17 sustainable development goals on your pitch deck because it makes it that more attractive. Actually, absolutely not. Better focus on 1 up to 3 SDGs, because behind each of these SDGs, there are also um, other metrics, right? They are, how many were there? 63. Well, now I have a little blackout. There, for every SDG, there are 10, 20 metrics behind, and you need to be at least contributing to one of those, right? Because
Mm,
people sometimes don't dive deep, so you should dive a little bit deeper in the impact side. And another advice, stay authentic, because the investor will feel it. I feel it so quick when somebody is pitching to me and they say they are about impact. oh my God, if I feel it like if it's true or not, it's very fast, you know. So stay authentic, you know, because I feel it. If you are still maybe sustainable investing, then just name yourself, we are not yet impact, we are sustainable investing. It's much more true, it's much more authentic than if you claim you are doing some huge impact on our planet and you actually don't. That's important. And when you're pitching to impact investors, prepare well, because they are still investors. They also want to see this, you know, the problem, the solution, your potential market, the team is of course always very important, your ask, how much are you looking for? So all these things are valid also to impact businesses, right? So you need to prepare like pitching to an investor. A tip to see, we made an impact Shark Tank with Mr. Kevin Harrington during COVID, and the project selected, we're pitching to him directly as well, and how he was asking questions. I think that might help to someone who wants to see a real investor to prepare.
Are there any impact investors who you will give examples or highlight as these are kind of successful role models or case studies that people can look at?
Mm-hmm. So we have, for example, in our advisory board, Steven Brennickmeyer, and he has more than 30 years of experience. He was one of the founders of Responsibility. It's a very big company in Switzerland, which was originally doing microfinance, and then also they included impact investing. So check those people who are really from the heart, where pioneers, you know, they check the pioneers who are developing and standing at the very beginning. Or also we are very good connected with Mr. Sir Ronald Cohen, who was pioneering impact investing in United Kingdom, and he also wrote a book, Impact Revolution. Amazing. It's such a tiny book, you know, like you can't find excuses not to read it because it's so small, but so to the point, how to get into action in impact investing space. So that's also I recommend to read Impact Revolution from Sir Ronald Cohen, yes. And because it's very simple how we need to engage, you know, in united stakeholders, the government, the universities, the financial sector, and of course, entrepreneurs. So once these four main stakeholders are at the table in a country, want to do something, then it's much more easier to shift the consciousness, the ecosystem, and to evolve towards impact investing.
Excellent. Well, we reached a point we want to give an opportunity for our sponsor to, or give our sponsors a show. So we're going to take a break for our sponsors, and we'll get back in and finish the show from our second part.
Sure.
The playbook for growing a local business online is simple. Capture new leads, conversationally convert those leads into sales, turn those customers into positive reviews, and then reactivate those customers into repeat buyers. And that's exactly what our platform does. In order to consistently generate new leads, you first need to be found. The quickest way to get search engines like Google to put your business at the top of search results is by having a steady flow of positive reviews. With our platform, you can show up in search and stand apart from your local competition by easily collecting new customer reviews through text. But getting found is only the beginning. Most consumers choose the first business that responds to them. So unless you start conversations with potential customers almost instantly, they'll go somewhere else. That's why we make starting conversations with website visitors as easy as clicking a button, connecting you instantly through text message so the conversation doesn't end when they leave your website. And we bring all your leads, no matter where they come from, into a single conversation stream that supports text, email, video messaging, Google Business Chats, and even Facebook and Instagram DMs, so you can respond faster and more efficiently than ever. When it comes to turning all those conversations into customers, we make collecting payments just another convenient part of the combo, so you get paid faster no matter how they prefer to pay. Next, you'll want to turn your new customers into happy reviews. which is a snap with our new review request quick actions. The more conversations and customers you generate, the easier it becomes to drive repeat business. We make reactivating contacts into customers as easy as, yup, you guessed it, the push of a button. With bulk actions, you can send out text and email campaigns to generate new sales whenever you have a new update, promotion, or story to tell. We make modern online marketing simple. Let's start growing your business today.
And we're back. Welcome back to the King Connections podcast. And we're talking with the impact investor and TV show co-host and yoga instructor and impact trainer and founder of Impact Investing Solutions. Sveta Banerjee. Sveta, correct?
Sveta. I don't know why, but for American people, I usually face this problem. I don't know why, but it's very cute anyway how you pronounce it, so don't worry.
Well, you know, the joke about that is this: they say if you talk to someone who can speak two languages, they're multilingual. If you talk to someone who can speak one language, they're American. So, you know, so forgive me for my accent in that context.
No
So we
problem.
spent the first half of the show really talking about impact investing in your business. The second half, I kind of really want to focus on you as an individual. And so my question is going to be really geared towards what really drives you, what inspires you, and not so much about your business, but just throughout the day. I know yoga is where you find your peace, but I'm curious, what are some morning rituals that you go through to kind of get yourself prepared for the day?
Oh, do we really need to go that deep?
If you don't mind.
Well, the first thing in the morning before I go out of the bed when I'm awake, I chant some mantra in my head,
Okay.
and also have a sense of gratitude for waking up, because we are taking this for granted, right? Not every
Absolutely.
person is waking up on this planet. Many people just never woke up again. So
Exactly.
that's a gratitude. I think it's always what am I grateful for? And also, some mantra from yoga to help me to bring the knowledge because we tend to forget a lot of things. So then there are special mantras which okay, again on the same spot, not lower in energy. And yes, and gratitude. That's the first things.
I love that. I'm the same way. I do a show each Wednesday with co-hosts of mine called Fully Human Connections. And we start the show off by asking what our gratitude moments are. So we go through a list of our gratitudes every Wednesday. And I do it every single day myself because what I realized, at least from my experience, it's impossible for me to feel negative after I go through my list of gratitudes. Like, for example, I wake up and I say, I'm grateful for my life, my health, my ability to see, hear, stand, walk, talk, and breathe and have sound mind. And it's those little things that I'm much grateful for, because I tell people that regardless of you working on a $1 billion merger, if you wake up and you can't see, that's going to be the dominant thing in your mind right now. It's not going to be that $1 billion merger. It's going to be, why can't I see? Or why can't I hear? Or why can't I stand? So taking those things for granted, to me, is the wrong way. Now, you spoke about energy before, and I wanted to kind of circle back to that. How important does energy play a role in your life, and then the relationships that you bring into your life as well?
Yeah, I think it's everything, and it's every second we have a choice. How do we react? Which energy do we give back to the world, positive or negative? Right. So which vibrations? It's our response. It's always either from the mind or it's from the heart. So if you realize that the human nature itself is love and you're full of it, what do you give? You can only give that. There is a funny story I'm happy to share. So imagine two people are standing and having a nice coffee, drinking it. Yeah. The third person comes And by accident, he hits one of the persons and the coffee spills out. And the person who hits the person says very angry, "Why did you spill the coffee?" And the person with the coffee says, "I spilled coffee because I had coffee. If I would have tea, I would have spilled tea." So life is always poking us, and whatever we have inside is actually going out. So, and it's always a learning for me, because the life, when you are on yoga or spiritual path, it doesn't mean that everything goes so smooth and nice. Absolutely not. It's maybe even worse, because it's always a test for you personally. Okay, do you actually have love inside, or you have anger still, or you have some jealousy maybe, or whatever it is, right? So then it's like a test. Okay, how do I react? What do I give? How do I respond to the situation? Which energy do I get? So, and to have high energy, it's we can raise our energy ourselves, but we need to do it. It's our choice. Do we do it or not, or do we choose to just flow and be impacted by the weather condition? Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too hot, and it's never right. When it's too cold, we complain. When it's too hot, we complain. If we have kids, if we have kids, maybe we complain we have kids. If we don't have kids, we want to have kids. It's always like never ending story. So that's why it's our choice to all the circumstances in life. And what do you give? Do you give love, or you give something else?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think what you're saying definitely resonates with me very well. And one of the key things that it's important to me is the principles that govern my life. So I have core principles, and I got this from I was turned on to it by the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. And some of my core principles are wisdom, faith, love, higher purpose, serving, growth mindset, um, integrity, and being a person that's generative.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my question for you now, within that context, do you have core principles that govern your life? And if so, what are those core principles that you want to share?
Yes, and you named them already. Some of them, absolutely. I think love is the most fundamental guiding principle. So I hope I give a lot of times love and not something else to people. Even though it happens sometimes, of course, that something else comes out. Service, selfless service. I think when you have the attitude of service, selfless service to others, then many things change.
Mm.
Selfless service is so important to make us humble in front of something bigger, in front of the divine. I mean, because if you can't be humble, if you think you are the center of this world, just look at the world. Go beyond our planet. There are so many universes, galaxies, and if you look at yourself down from that space, you're like nothing.
Right,
You disappear and nobody will care. Like,
right.
we are just a dust. So why this dust is not humble? Why this dust is thinking, "Oh, I'm such a great person," or "I will change the world"? We can only change ourselves. That's the truth I needed to discover also, because when I left the bank, I was very ambitious, like, "Oh, we got to change the world." And with the time I understood, well, yeah, you can change yourself and then the world will change. But it's not another way around, right?
Right.
So you need to change yourself. So what I named love, service, and faith as well. If you don't
Yes.
have faith, yeah, you're quite miserable, I think.
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of compassion to people who don't believe in anything. And yeah.
What do you look for in making new connections? Is there a certain criteria that you look for before you? And I want to ask this question in two ways. Number one, online. So if someone sends you a LinkedIn request and says, "I want to connect," is there certain things you look for? And then I also want to ask, in person, if someone were to come to you in person, are there certain qualities and characteristics that you're looking for to make a determination? I will give this person an opportunity to,
Yeah,
add to my network.
right. So I'm actually quite generous on LinkedIn. I connect to people also whom I don't know if they don't send me marketing messages, and don't sound too fishy or whatever. I'm quite generous, and also like someone asked me for advice. It was a young company in Africa, and I just jumped on the call with them and I helped them. It just was a free advice. Even like this, I do sometimes, not all the time because I don't have all the time, but still,
Absolutely.
if it's like if I feel this energy of genuine impact, then I'm quite easy to connect or jump on online call and help, to advise, to guide a little bit, at least the direction, if we cannot help ourselves. Sometimes we can help, sometimes we can't. Then we just say, okay, you need to go that way or that way. On offline, that might be a bit more complicated because I'm also a mom, and I need time for my son besides running my company. And I'm very selective not to waste time. I've been much more doing offline meetings before COVID, I would say. But what happens that people just brain pick, I don't like just, okay, they brain pick on what we do, what connections we have and things like that. But like there is no energy flow in this way. It's only one-sided. One side. So I also like that that there should be unity in mission, alignment in mission. Then I'm happy to see that we really then can do something together to help both, right? That we can help someone and they also can help. So together we win for the planet, right? And it's also important that the people are having our mindset. Because life is too short.
Right.
It's just too short, so I don't want to waste it. And I learned to say no over the years. I think before I was saying too much yes. Maybe I learned to say a little bit no also, and you need to do it. Otherwise, everyone is jumping on your head, and you don't have time for yourself also. Because if you don't have time for yourself, you cannot recharge and you cannot give. Then you run out of your own battery, and it's not good for no one.
If you were to create a advisory council of, they could be elders or just wise sages, who would be 5 people, and it could be people currently or people from history that you would want on your council to give you governance, give you wisdom and guidance?
You mean for my company or just for
For
impacting
your
us?
own, no, for your own mental clarity and mission in life, that you could just say, here's my advisory board that I can just talk to when I got personal issues, business issues, whatever issues they may be. There's 5 people from either, it could be ancestors from the past or it could be current people,
Yeah.
just 5 people in life of influence. You say, I would love to be able to just contact them and get advice if they were available for me.
Okay, I don't know. I just have one in my mind.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't need anyone else, I think. So I can say Paramahamsa Vishwananda is an enlightened master who is there on our planet right now and guiding already hundreds of thousands of people. And I think he is just representing this unconditional love himself, what he is doing, tirelessly giving advices and blessings and around the world, and teaching others to be better human beings at the first place, right? And then on spiritual journey at the next step. But first of all, I think each of us needs to just become better human being.
I
Yeah.
agree 100%. And could you repeat the name again? I'm sorry.
Sure. His name is Paramahamsa Vishwananda. I can send it to you in the chat, and then you can check. He will be actually in US for 3 months. He's coming in August. He has built an ashram in Elmira. It's like 4 hours from New York, and everyone is invited. He will give also blessings to in different cities. Oh no, wait a second. He will be giving blessings in different cities in US, and it's free. You don't have to pay anything. You just need to go for your blessing and see for yourself. For every person, he is different. That's why for me, it's one thing. Every soul has different journey and personal relationship with the divine. If you believe in God, with God. If you don't believe in God, with the universe. So you need to feel the energy. That's the only advice I can give here.
Okay. And now, when it comes to family, you mentioned you being a mother, the different roles you play: business owner, founder, impact investor, mother, wife. What do you do to kind of really help yourself prepare for those roles and understand that those roles are just, none of those roles really define you, but they're just roles you play throughout your day? So do you understand my question? Does it make sense?
Yeah, sure. I think it's you learn to be yourself with the time. So it's not like, okay, now I'm a mom, now I am this, now I'm that. So it's like when you're yourself, whatever role you play, you do it good. And again, it's the energy you give in whatever role you are. It's this, if you can be loving mother, loving CEO, or loving wife, or loving yoga teacher, whoever you are, if you spread this, everyone loves you back.
That's true.
It's just like, yeah, then they are sad when you will be gone. That's the thing. So if we are all going to die, right? So if you are dead and people are saying, okay, thanks God, this one is gone, right? If they don't miss you, then you did something wrong.
Right.
If they miss you, that's a good sign, right? So just be such human that people will be missing you when you're not there. And it can happen anytime. There's no guarantee you wake up tomorrow.
Absolutely. One of the things that, and it's kind of in alignment with what you're talking about with your teacher, is that what I've learned is that throughout my years is identity, and how important identity plays a role in how we see the world. Like when I was born, my cultural given, as a friend of mine, colleague says, my identity was, well, you're a boy. So as my gender, as the first thing, you're a boy. So this is how you got to function. And then my identity became my race. You're a black boy, so now you have to work within that context. And then my identity became my career as well. So it's kind of shifted throughout my life, and to the point where I've gotten to gaining wisdom that I identify now as a fully human. And my race, my gender, all those things are descriptions of who I am, but they're not my identity. And so in doing that, it allows me to see others as human beings as well. So I don't see them as white, black, until they show me that they identify as that, then I see them as that. So setting that context, how do you feel about identity playing a role in relationships, how you function, and how you kind of move through the world?
So just to make sure I understand. So you mean how I function in which way?
Well, in life, how do you see identity playing a huge part?
Identity. Okay, you're talking about. So identity, it's a very good thing, And when you ask people, okay, who are you, right? What do they say? Okay, I'm a doctor, I'm a banker, I'm a teacher, I am an engineer, I'm whatever. Okay, they never say, I'm a soul, I'm a human, or something like that. Usually they all are fed up with this concepts, and that's what we are teaching from the very little things, and they're adding up the identities, each and every one of us. So the thing is to peel out like an onion all these identities. If you want to figure out who you are, you need to peel out all the identities you have been given. Even your name, you didn't choose your name. It was
Right.
given to you, if you liked it or not. And some people don't like the name, they change the name. And they are maybe mobbed at school for their names. Well, it was given to you. It's not you who chose your name, right?
Right.
So to figure out who you are, you need to take all these layers away who you are not. And also very spread identity. Okay, I'm now American, I'm Italian, I'm French, I'm Russian, I'm whoever. I call myself, I'm citizen of the world. My home is our planet. I don't feel Swiss, even though I have Swiss passport. I lived here 19 years, but I don't call myself Swiss and this, So I really feel that we need to grow out of this identities, because if you are just one part of the world, then you can fight towards others. Now, if you understand that we are unity, we are all of it actually, and your ancestors might have come from completely other side of the planet. If you do your genetic test nowadays, there's so many. So you are a mixture of many different countries. So you cannot say you are this or that. You are all of that, right? So that's my identity. I am all. In in yoga, there are nice expressions from the scriptures. Hari Om Tat Sat, like that's all there is, right? It's we are all just that.
Absolutely. Well, I have two more questions for you, then we'll wrap things up. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question. Describe for me a typical day in Switzerland.
Typical day.
Yes.
Or my day, like, or how my day look like, or
Well,
just someone
typical
else.
Switzerland, yeah. Because, as an American, you know, we always hear so much about Switzerland being, of course, being the place where you can go have meetings because Switzerland is where there's no war, no, it's a neutral location. So it always, we even say things like a barbershop may be if a neighborhood is warring. Well, this barbershop is Switzerland for today. It's going to be
Right.
where peace can be talked. So I'm just curious, what's a day
Sure.
like in Switzerland?
Sure. I mean, like, you must know that Switzerland has very good watches, right? So everything is mostly always on time. So if you call someone before 8 a.m. and they are not 7:59, they will not pick up the phone. Or if you wanted to call some bank at 5:01 in the afternoon and they close at 5, there will be no one. No way. So 1 minute late, it will be closed. So you can call next day. But so everything is very how I describe? It functions well. So it's actually nice. People are calm, relaxed. So they wake up, they do their morning rituals, and they go to work. You can see a lot of people in the bus or waiting for the tram, and they don't talk usually to each other, So usually when you have foreigners in the train or bus, even Italians or Germans, they talk in the train or in the trams, and okay, they're foreigners, because these people usually they are more diplomatic, so they are on the phone, they are using their time efficiently till they work, and they do their work well. I can't complain. Usually they're in very well in the job, so you can learn a lot from them, from Swiss people. I'm also Swiss, so I always try to learn the best from every country I go. And in many countries, you lack this structured approach, the punctual things working. Things can be done online, some bureaucratic stuff, and you don't have to go personally and wait for 5 hours. So it's very structured. Any appointment you need, doctor or some in the local government appointment, it's very structured. So it's rather pleasant in this way. And then in the lunch, usually 12 to 2, you see a lot of people having lunch outside in summer, inside in winter, or mixture, So people also liking the nature. enjoying it whenever they can. When I was working at the bank, imagine in Zurich City, that's what I loved in my job the most. During lunchtime, I could swim in the lake, so it's very clean.
Wow.
In the center of the city, on my break, I was just jumping in the lake and then going back to work.
Wow.
So that's not happens not in every city. So definitely, it's a good lifestyle, life balance, work-life balance. See, still people get burnouts because it's mental. The thing is, it's quite wealthy, and people don't have real problems, and they need to create problems. And the mind is creating many problems. If you cannot control your mind, the mind is going to control you. So yoga helps to control your mind and don't to get burnouts and things like that. And in the evening, usually, of course, there some traffic, but not so much. But still, sometimes there is. So people are going back. Then they eat dinners, and then 10 o'clock, if you go outside in my village, or even already 9, it's no one is on the street. Okay, Zurich is more, of course, there are more people, but like in some village in Switzerland, it's quite quiet, right? So, and Sundays, it's even more peaceful. People are going a lot for weekends away. So then it's if you like calm and you are not bored by the nature, then you should come to Switzerland. Some people say, what am I going to do? It's too boring. I never felt boring here, to be honest. You can, if you're bored with yourself, you will be bored with yourself anywhere.
That's true. Well, my last question as we wrap up the show is, what advice or any last thoughts that you want to share with our listening audience they can take away from this conversation?
Mm-hmm. I think you need to dare to be yourself, because you are unique. Every person on this planet is so unique. There is no second you. But very often we don't dare to be ourselves. We want to be like somebody else. And that's where the failure starts, because it's better to be yourself and be happy. And you will be so much happier when you dare to be yourself. And then you will discover the greatest person always with you, your friend inside of you, because you are true to your core being. And if you want to copy somebody else, it's not you. So I encourage everyone to be and dare to be yourself.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you. As we wrap up today's show, is there any contact information you want to share with our listening audience as well? You talked about the website, YouTube channel, the TV show, any of those links?
Yeah. And King, may I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
So if we look at it, some people say, okay, I can't make impact, I'm just one. No, but you can create impact on different levels. As a person, you can. As a little investor, we all have pension savings or something. How do you invest? What do you eat? Like as a consumer, also, what do you choose? What do you buy? It all creates impact. So actually, every day, it's full of choices that you make. So, and it's always been some courageous people, individuals who made an impact. We just need 3% of our global population to change, for consciousness to raise, so we can make this shift. We don't need 100%. So be one of those. Dare, impact, love the planet, and do something good. Become a better human being.
Love it. I think those are wise words, and I think it's words I'll definitely follow in my life as well. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for inviting me, King.
Any contact information you want to share with our listening audience before we wrap up?
Well, website isolutions.ch. Please go ahead, and you can always reach out on LinkedIn, Sveta Banerjee. You can see it if you have some personal questions, or you are inspired, you want to invest, or you want to come to one of our events, or whatever it is, just reach out. We are there.
Thank you. And thank you for being a part of our show. You've been wonderful. I loved your energy throughout, and this has been a great conversation.
Thank you, King. All the best to you. Thank you so much.
I wish you a blessed and productive remaining part of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.